right, well, we don't have to wait too much longer. So I will call the meeting to order at 6:31. The first item is to adopt tonight's agenda.
I make a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
I'll second.
The motion's been made and seconded to adopt tonight's agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And agenda has been adopted. Item 3, approve the minutes from the March 14th, 2023 meeting.
I do have something for discussion on those. If, on this, can we do that now, or should I wait until we do the
Go ahead.
discussion? On the second page, where they discuss, or where we discuss the per unit or per lot fees, I think that really needs to be spelled out in the motion, because I don't think it's spelled out very clearly in that. It just basically says 2,000 park dedication fees for single family and 1,500 park dedication fees for multifamily. But shouldn't it say 2,000 per lot and then 1,500 per unit, just to be clear?
Yep, we could make those changes.
That would be good. I kind of think they should do that in the preceding paragraphs as well, wherever they list the fees, but at least in the motion, for sure. Other than that, I think it's good.
Motion to approve the minutes with the amendments.
Second? Are you making the motion?
I did.
Okay, second.
The motion has been made and seconded to approve the minutes with Mary Helen's changes. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the minutes are approved. Item 4, park financial information. Nate?
Page 1 is the capital fund summary. No change from last month on those, and like same as last month, we'll go over those again when we get into item 6 on our agenda, but no changes for those. On the second page is our parks operations budget. Not a lot of changes in there. We did have a little bit more snow plowing. One of those was actually, this last one, hard to believe it was a week and a half ago we had a blizzard, but that was all on a Saturday, so that was all overtime, so a portion of that does come out of the parks budget in the salaries, and we're gonna have fuel and things like that too, so. But no big surprises in our operations budget so far in that category. Any questions on anything in there?
Nope.
Motion to approve the parks financials.
Seconded.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the park financials. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Park financials are approved. Next item, we have a speaker coming for that, Nate?
No, she's, I'll go through it real quick and then kind of give you where we're at with the whole planning process for this. This is item 5.0, Coon Lake Park. This would be the long-range plan. Coon Lake County Park was recently approved to become a regional park by the Metropolitan Council. As part of this process, to obtain regional status, the county must develop a master plan for the park. Coon Lake County Park is approximately 111 acres and located on the east end of Coon Lake in Columbus Township. Karen Blaska, Parks Planner with Anoka County Parks, attended the December 13th, 2022 Park Commission meeting and presented the draft master plan. Anoka County Parks has recently completed the long-range plan and it is attached for your review. The East Bethel City Council will be asked to submit a resolution of support for their project at the April 24th, 2023 City Council meeting. Any comments provided by the Park Commission will be presented to the City Council at that meeting. So Karen offered to come here, but there really wasn't any change from her draft presentation. Basically, they just wanted to get the Park Commission's thoughts on it, and then they'll send it to City Council for their review and hopefully resolution of support that they're looking for from the local communities to get funded for this project. So I did notice their overall budget went down a little bit on there, what they had planned, but for the most part, it's all the same stuff we went over at the December meeting.
I read through it, I thought it looked good, for the most part.
I spoke with Karen, they still had the acquisition of that big parcel that was for sale on there. And it's still included in the plan, but that sale did go through, so they missed out on that portion
that's
for
too
now.
bad.
Maybe something they can secure in the future, but it depends on what they do with the
It
land.
went through to somebody else, you mean?
A private party
Right.
purchased it, yeah.
No, that's too bad.
That's what she had said at the last meeting, but
Yeah, it was in, I think it was kind of in the process, or it was close, but no, I said it's been finalized, so.
And there's 2 parcels there. Was that for both of them?
Yes, yep.
Okay.
And there's a one little tiny, there's a one little separate parcel in there too that's all by itself. I don't know if it shows up on their plan. It's on the county website.
Yeah, I think it showed in there on the plan as well.
They show up on there.
Mhm.
But when Karen was here, they had an overall budget of around, I think, 6 million for all the, projects that they were looking at doing. And on here, it was down a little bit less too.
Yeah, it was 5
5
million
or
something,
something like that, yeah.
yeah. 5.5, yeah.
so really all they're looking for is a resolution supporting it. They're not looking for money.
Correct. Yep. They just want local,
Support,
local support, yep.
yeah.
You know, the
Do we
thing
need to
she
make a
proposed.
motion
Yeah.
on that? Yeah,
We could do a motion, yep, if there's any more comments, we can include those.
I'm still disappointed there's not a sliding hill because they said that their insurance wouldn't cover it.
We're gonna get you a sliding hill one of these days. Some way or somehow.
Northwood has a nice one.
And I want the trail going, working with Columbus, going there and coming around the other side of the lake.
Well, that will be a nice trail if they get that built. Like I say, it might be a while, but that would be a good connection piece. It would connect all the way over to
it'd be nice.
Martin Lake and Linwood.
Well, I'll make a motion to, accept their draft proposal for the Coon Lake Regional Park. Hold on a second. Second? No?
Yep.
I'll second it.
second it.
Yeah. I was trying to remember, I thought at our last meeting, we talked about something that we were gonna ask about the Coon Lake, this, but I can't remember what it is now, so.
For this park?
Yeah, we had an idea or something in our last meeting about the beach. But I can't remember what it was.
I don't recall that either. We could have, I know we talked a little bit about the East Bethel property that we owned, along Cedar Drive, the sandbar area. But I don't remember anything about the actual county park.
But that's
Yeah,
okay.
up the road.
All
So
right.
I'll second it.
A motion has been made and seconded to approve the Coon Lake Regional Long Range Plan. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 And that motion passes.
And Karen will be at the city council meeting for the council if they have any questions too. We're gonna have her come to that one, so.
Okay. When is that gonna be?
April, the next one is April 24th.
And she'll be at that one?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, item 6.
Item 6, the 2024 to 2028 Park Capital Improvement Planning. Continue discussion and development of the 5-year capital improvement plan and recommend to City Council. The Park Commission prepares a capital improvement plan annually which updates projected projects, evaluates priorities, and establishes funding for these works for the coming year and for each of the subsequent years for a 5-year period. The plan is presented to the city council for their approval and used for preparing the coming year's budget. Attached is a 2023 to 2027 park CIP and a draft 2024 to 2028 park CIP. We will discuss those projects that are listed in 2024 and determine if the projects need to stay in their current funding year or be rearranged to reflect any changes in our park priorities. Other projects can be added and existing ones can be deleted if there's a need for restructuring the schedule. If the Parks Commission is satisfied with the draft CUP, then a recommendation can be made to City Council. If further updates are needed, a recommendation can take place at a later meeting. So we didn't have a lot of changes from the one that we had from before. I updated all the actual starting balances based on where we sit with our anticipated monies spent this summer and where we're gonna get from development and whatnot. So if you wanna start on the Park Acquisition and Development Fund, that's for 2024 and 2020. This is the one with the different colors on there. They're kinda color coordinated to see which projects match for year to year, but on the first page there, we talked about that shade structure in Booster West. This is mainly for the big tournaments out there and the weeknight games for families and stuff to sit underneath. I should start off too, for that beginning balance, we're looking at a projected balance of $66,800 starting in 2024. That includes a few park dedication fees that are coming in that we're already aware of that we haven't received yet. And there could be more, but
Did you say that includes that?
that includes what we have planned, yeah, so far,
Okay.
that's outstanding. It's a little bit less than we had planned a few years ago. Some of the, and that one's kind of a shot in the dark. We're just kind of guessing on what we're gonna get for development. For about 8-10 years there, we never had a single penny in there from after 2008 to probably 2018.
A little light on the development.
Yeah. So I mean, this one could take off a lot higher, if we get some of the fees changed in for the park dedication fees, that could greatly increase this amount too.
Yeah.
So we don't have a lot of projects listed in there. Mainly, we kind of focused on what would take place at a new park development down in that area around Viking and 65. So that's kind of, we've kind of just rough estimate a full park in there would run probably close to $500,000 to have everything put in, playground equipment, land. So that's 5 years of our budget. So we're kind of leaving a lot of space here if we need to tap into some of these other funds. On the second page is the Park Capital Fund. This is funded from the general fund transfer. There's no increase in the amount for the next 5 years. For 2024, we have $100,000 budgeted for Coon Lake Beach playground equipment and skate park. Basically anything we want to see done down at Coon Lake Beach and Maynard Peterson Park. We kind of talked about this last month. The big issue is that'll be the oldest playground equipment in the city then. So that's probably top priority there. But we'll have some money to fix up the other rest of the park too. So, and we have to decide what we want to do on the skateboard parks.
Yeah. Yep.
As we talk about some of these future projects, what's the latest on the trails at John Anderson and stuff that's going on this year? Are we in good shape with those?
So this beginning balance on here includes what we anticipate to spend on that and what we have planned for 2023, which, I gotta go back to that page, was a chunk of the Baton Streets Trail segment, skateboarding park at Booster West, which we kind of discussed on how we're gonna handle that. And then Whispering Oaks Park will have one piece of equipment replaced and the tennis court resurfaced. So this beginning balance takes all that into account.
Okay.
So if we decide for this summer, we don't want to spend that much on skateboard equipment, you know, we could roll that over or use it for something else too.
Yep, I just wanted to make sure that those projects were all
The John
on
Anderson
budget
Trail-
and everything else as we talk about these, so.
The John Anderson Trail segment was brought up at the city council meeting. There's a portion of it that's not completed. I can actually, if you give me a second, I can pull up the thing we had from the city council. So we've constructed all of the trails within the old picnic ground area. So those are all ready to go. We cleared the trees, graded the trail, put all the base material down. We do not have asphalt on those trails yet, so it would continue the rest of the asphalt trails in there. We didn't have time at the end of fall to bid that, so we're gonna bid that this spring. The trail segment that connects from there to the neighborhood was, we're gonna meet with a couple of the residents there. There were some upset residents where it comes out into that cul-de-sac, and we're gonna go over some options, if that's feasible, or if we push that off till a different time. So none of that's been constructed yet. That part included building a floating dock section to cross kind of a area that's seasonably wet.
Yep.
And then there's a couple big oak trees in there we had to take down that we have bids on, but we held off on it. So we could decide what we're gonna do with it. So for right now, the earliest we could start on that wouldn't be until the fall, cause there's oak trees in there. We can't cut oaks now until October. Let me pull up that map for you real quick though. That was at the work meeting, wasn't it? Well, I think that Jack brought, the discussion started at the council, and then, yeah, it's at the work. Here, let me pull this up. So the green on, this is the John, let me see if I can make this bigger for you. So this is the existing paved trails in there. This is the beach area. Look, doesn't really show up on here because the water's down so far, but this is all sandy beach in here. This is the parking lot for John Anderson. This is the old picnic grounds here. And this blue trail is a trail that we constructed already. It's ready to go. It goes down, it's kind of a nice walk. It goes down along the shoreline. It's all pretty much in the woods and nature trail. And then this piece is the connection piece we're still talking about.
Or is that the one that, they're upset about?
Yeah, it's some residents that live close by to where the trail will connect to the cul-de-sac.
Actually, the one lady that goes right by her bedroom window.
And then overall, the trail looked like,
When we met in that park, there were at least one or two community members who were very strong for it though, too.
yep.
Who lived down further into that neighborhood, who wanted that way to connect into the park. So let's keep that in mind too.
Did they come here too?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, weren't they in this room too though?
It's when we had the meeting at the park.
At the park, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was here.
That would have
They were
been,
here too.
Yeah,
Last year we were there.
okay.
I think it was last year, I wasn't here.
Yeah, but they were here too.
Yeah,
When
I
they
thought I
came in.
remember that lady sitting over here.
so here's the
Maybe not.
kind of the more regional look at it. This is the Bethel Haunted Trails. It's kind of part of the long-term connection. So that part's up in the air. I think we're gonna have at another meeting, we're gonna talk about this, but we're trying to get some quotes on paving the portion that we have there. So that money is included. Actually, the whole trail is still included in this cost. So if this part isn't done, this number, 33,000, will go up, whatever savings we save on not doing this portion.
I thought we already decided we were gonna do it though.
You still have to.
Didn't we decide that at a meeting?
It was approved by the Park Commission and the City Council, and the current City Council wants to take a look at it,
Okay.
review it. And we're gonna meet with the resident there. I've had discussions with her a few times, and it sounded like they were okay if we could get some kind of privacy fence put up along there. But we'll see if it's, where it goes from there.
Is it the south end of that trail where the wet spot is that you talked about the bridge?
Let me go back to this one.
I've walked it and the place I'm thinking of is way on the south side.
This,
Oh, it's over there.
it's right
Okay,
through here.
I see.
So it has to get pretty high for it to get wet because it drains Cooper's Lake. Actually drains out of here into this other wetland. But I've only seen water in it a few times. It's been so dry that the water's way down, but it can get up quite a ways, so. We've built these we've got another, area where we built these floating dock sections that they actually cross, open water too, so they're pretty durable. They're like a big plastic float, and then you put a green treated boardwalk on top of it, and they interconnect. We got a bunch of the floats left over from that other project that have been sitting in our back lot. So that money's included on there. For 2025, we have another chunk of that Baton Trail segment. And then going forward, I did not include any other projects with that same kind of mindset, thinking that we're gonna need to have some money set up for development of a new park in that south end of the city. Denise brought up some repairs to the concession stand at the last meeting. I think a lot of that we can handle with our operations budget. We've actually taken care of a lot of those last summer. If we wanted to build a whole new facility, that would be a different story, but just doing updates to the one we have is paint and mainly maintenance stuff, so. We've fixed all the doors, and it's in a lot better shape than it was there for a while. Had a lot of vandalism issues with that building. People trying to get in there to get popping candy or something.
Get into an empty building.
Yeah.
So, your acquisition and development fund, you're saying a beginning balance of 66,000, but you're showing a ending balance in '23 of a negative.
In 2028.
No, 2023.
That's the one we have for this year.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the one we had last year. That's was dependent on what we got for revenue. We were showing that we were gonna probably not have enough money to do that project last year. That was the ball field lights. We talked about this a little bit last month. That was a price for a used set. We haven't been able to find that. The new set I have listed on here in 2028 in the park acquisition development fund, and the new one of 350,000. I just put that in there as a placeholder so we know how much money we're talking about if we wanted to do that project. That's for new LED lights from Musco that does most of the lighting for athletic fields in the area.
Well, that makes more sense now.
Yeah.
Let's try to get those numbers to reconcile in my head, and nothing was working.
Yep. And in the past, on the park acquisition and development fund, if we don't have the funding for those projects, we just bump them down a year. If they become a priority where something needs to be done, we move it over to the park capital fund and fund it through our general fund transfers. So that's my spiel. If you guys want anything moved or want to add anything, let me know.
Did you say for the 2025 park playground equipment that Maynard Peterson was kind of one of the oldest ones?
The
did
Coon
I
Lake
mishear
Beach is
that?
the oldest one. Maynard Peterson doesn't have any actual playground equipment. It has a skateboard park and a sky hanger. That's the
Okay.
ball field that the team is gonna use this
I
summer.
see. Yep, that's right.
And then, we had talked about last meeting possibly taking that skateboard park out and putting a playground in there. If
Okay.
there's families there and they have siblings that, while they're watching a game and they wanna play on a swing set or something, it might be get more use than the skateboard park is getting currently.
Yep.
Have you guys got a chance to go, well, hasn't really been nice yet to tell.
It's
No,
just too,
and the parking lot didn't get plowed either, so.
Yeah,
yeah, it's too early
yeah.
with this weather.
Speaking of that, do we have a date? We've got a annual meeting coming up. Do we have a date for that clinic at Maynard Peterson?
Yeah, it was, Sunday, May. I think it's Sunday, May 21st.
And is there, an age group,
They said it was open to everybody.
okay,
They were working on getting food trucks figured out with our city staff. They had asked about a couple other things that they were still working on too, but
Is there any time? Yeah,
I don't recall a time on it yet. Let me see if I had that in my notes here.
or you can just let me know before the 24th. Would be great.
Sure. Yeah, I don't see it in here. We're gonna put it on our city, once we get all the stuff confirmed, we'll put it on the city website, probably put it on the reader board too.
Where are we gonna put everybody? I mean, you think
For
about
that event?
cars, yeah, and if you're gonna have food trucks, where are the food trucks gonna go?
We're still figuring all that out.
Okay,
Typically what we do is we put a no parking along one side of the road, allow them to park on the other side so emergency vehicles can still get through.
right,
And then, at times, we've allowed parking on some of our MSA roads, like the main drag coming in there. Even though they're posted no parking, we can do a temporary lift on that. Actually had one this weekend for Our Savior's Church for their Easter parking. The no parking on all those roads is a requirement by the
yeah.
state of Minnesota. We get money for those projects.
Can you let us all know as things kind of firm up?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'll
maybe
just
just an email or something.
Include you on an email, yep.
That'd be helpful.
Any other projects or ideas people had of things they wanted to see included on here?
I think I'm covered.
When this goes to city council, when they approve the final CIP, it's the stuff that's in 2024 that's approved. The stuff going forward can be moved around still. So the main items to focus on are what's taking place in 2024.
I'm good with what's on 2024. Cool Lake Beach definitely needs some help.
Yeah, that playground is long overdue. The community's raised some money and upgraded some of the swing set, actual seats in there. So we'll redo the actual post, but we'll reuse all those seats in there that they
Yeah,
raised
those
money
are,
for.
Yeah, those
they're really in
worked
good
out
shape.
well.
Yeah.
They're nice.
I've got one other sidebar that I forgot when we talked.
Sure.
We're gonna get a little bit of money to upgrade the game box and put some new stuff in there,
Mm-hmm.
or make it usable for everybody.
Yep.
Is there a littler basketball hoop, I think I might have talked to you, that we could like put where little kids could where it would could flop up, where it wouldn't be in the way on the side of the basketball court?
I could look into it. Off the top of my head, I don't know that you'd have to maybe pivot it out of the way.
I'm just wondering if there's something that could be, a parent could pull down, and then if bigger kids were playing, they could push it back up. I think those are adjustable, but
They make those ones that you'd have to replace one of the ones on the end probably. Well, you could put one on the side too, but it'd still be in the way if you're playing. We do have one park that has one of those in it. It's all that's in that park. Doesn't get used a lot. Maybe we could even take it out and move it.
I think it would be, we've got a lot of little guys, and
Little,
they
yeah.
can't quite get the ball in the hoop.
They sure try.
So if we could accomplish that, if we had to buy it, or if we can borrow one.
We have one in Deer Haven Park, which does not get a lot of use. But I do think there may be starting to have some grandchildren in that neighborhood. I could talk to some of the neighbors up there. Otherwise, I can get you a price on what it would cost to put one in.
That'd be great.
Most of them are just either if it's something you crank them up, or you lift them and they lock. Part of the problem with those that we've seen in the past, though, is when they're lowered and the big kids are in there. They're playing slam dunk contest and hanging from them, and
Oh, name breaker.
they got to be really sturdy and really vandal proof.
Bummer.
Something to think about, but
Yeah.
maybe there's a way you could lock it up or something so it can't lower down without a.
Yeah, if we can find something or think
Yep,
of
I can
something.
look into that. I've got suppliers that sell all that stuff.
So what do we get for 100,000 in a playground equipment? I guess I don't really have a good idea.
Not much.
Well, the one out in Booster West, that included the main climbing structure and the swing sets and a couple freestanding things, that was around 120,000. So that's you know, kind of the city's top of the line.
Mhm.
A typical neighborhood park, they usually run between 35 and 40,000. I haven't priced them out in the last year and a half. I guess as the steel prices went up a little bit, I'll know more when I do the one for that we have planned for this summer for Anderson Lakes, or for Whispering Oaks. A really nice one can be anywhere from 50 to 100 for a neighborhood sized park. You're kind of limited in that what you can fit in that footprint there.
Sure.
Yeah,
So that'll definitely, like the
Okay.
one out there wouldn't fit in that park, so.
Right. So I guess I was just wondering if we, if we did look at that skate park and determine it wasn't getting used like it was intended, if we converted that over to a playground, is there enough money there to do both playgrounds?
I think when we originally looked at this, when we came up with that amount, we had about 40,000 planned for the skateboard park and about 60,000 planned for the Coon Lake Beach Park, which include the playground, swing sets, any
Sure.
other site amenities. So there's enough to do both.
Okay.
You'd have to take the asphalt pad out that's in there though.
At the skateboard park?
Yeah, that would have to be tore out.
Sure.
right. Too hard.
Are we gonna be able to straighten out that concrete or
Which concrete?
in that basketball court? Or did it, I mean, it's kinda,
Oh, we could look at adding that to it. That might be something we can handle with our park maintenance budget too. There's companies that can do that. We don't have the stuff to do that, other than tear it out and re-pour it, but there is companies that do concrete jacking where they actually pump stuff underneath there and raise it up. We've had a few of them come out and give us demos, but we have actually never used them for anything. Usually we tear them out. Our guys are pretty good at doing concrete too, so if it's good flat work, they can maybe do it themselves or with our guys.
Concrete jacking does work pretty well. We've done a lot of that in the facilities that I had.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sidewalks and stuff, it's pretty amazing. They can be pretty precise with it even.
Cool.
All right, anybody have anything else on it?
Not me.
Capital improvement plan? Anybody want to make a motion to approve it?
I'll make a motion to approve our capital plan.
I'll
second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the park capital improvement plan. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 7, council report.
Well, once again, thank you for having me here tonight. I appreciate the work you guys are doing. As a council update, it's been extremely busy. We've changed some ordinances. Chicken ordinance was one of them. No fees, no permits, you can have chickens. Farm ordinance, your farm storage buildings will no longer be considered a bad thing to have. The outdoor temporary storage that we worked on this last week will allow farmers to put up those buildings to use as storage when they need them. Of course, set back in the backside of the property or not on the main road. But it will allow them to finally have a little bit extra storage on their property. And it's an unenforceable ordinance. So having it really isn't, a smart thing to have on our books to begin with. Security for businesses. We've introduced an ordinance. Right now, you're supposed to have 30% glass on the front of your building, equal on the sides and on the back. We're gonna try and do away with that. We've introduced an ordinance, changed one that will do just that, allowing businesses to be more secure. Along with that, we're gonna hopefully free up the building, what we're gonna be making them with. We're gonna change to allow for pole barn structure for new businesses coming in. very difficult for a new business to build a brand-new place when it's made out of concrete. It's not price affordable for new businesses. Instead of making it hard on new businesses to come to the cities, we're gonna try and change up so we make it a lot easier for them to come in and start new businesses here. Along with that, small business stores, we've introduced a change in the ordinance, which allows small businesses to utilize their own property, as long as it's in back and it's for their business. Right now, it's limited to basically 100 square feet of what they can use back there. As you know, some businesses around here definitely have a lot more than that, and some businesses don't, in terms of what they're using on their own property. This is gonna allow them to bring in more supplies and use more stuff, more yardage, more of their own square footage of their property that they own for their businesses. We've been very busy. I'm working on a septic system compliance check. We're changing the ordinances a little bit on that, we hope. We've introduced a new one saying that you no longer, if you put in new windows in your house or siding or anything like that, you have to be in, have a compliance check done on your sewer system.
Was that, excuse me, was that you will need to do that?
No.
Or you won't?
No,
Okay.
you will not.
Currently you do?
You currently do. If you want to put windows or doors in your house, you need to basically have a septic compliance check. That's going to free up a lot of people to do a lot of work on their houses without having to worry about a $15,000 to $30,000 bill if their septic system didn't, come in compliant. We have to be honest with ourselves here. We've got a lot of older houses that probably will not pass that, but they're working just fine. So we're hoping the residents see that we're trying to make a change in that nature and allow them to do what they need to do to their houses without any extra fees or any extra, work going on to their houses. The ordinance is pretty complex. If you get a chance, take a look at it. Councilman Smith here has been working very hard on it. And we think it's something the city really needs. Since we've last met, I've also met with Cal Barr. We've discussed some of the park stuff, some of the lake stuff going on. That's a continuing meeting that we're going to be having with him. And as you guys get more comfortable with me and I get more comfortable with you, we're going to be able to share some ideas and see what they're saying down at the Capitol about this area. And we're going to stay on top of that one very closely. We also went to the Anoka County Sheriff's Department. We had a tour down there. We were concerned that the boat we were going to be getting was too small for what we were going to use it for. And they have a variety of things down there, different sizes that we went and checked out, and they took us on a tour of their facility, which Councilman Smith and I went on also. And so we feel a little bit more comfortable about what we're doing, protecting our residents when we're getting a new boat and so forth. We will be meeting with the lady, as you discussed earlier tonight, about the trail going through her yard. The thing you have to consider here is you have a single mom with kids and a trail coming right by her house. So for her to come in and talk about and use the public forum to address her concerns about it was excellent. And any resident that comes in to do that, we're definitely going to take a notice to it and listen to them. And as Nate said, we're going to try and do everything we can to make sure that she's happy with that, if it goes in and we proceed with that. So we'll see how that goes, and hopefully, it all works out.
Is that coming
well.
back to the park committee then?
I'm not sure on that one. I know we're going to have to bring it back and discuss it, see what we're going to do with it. I would assume that it's going to go to council for a decision, yes or no, or hold up, or whatever. But definitely you guys will be in the loop and it'll come back here again. So hopefully though, with our conversation with her, we can satisfy her concerns and what she's worried about, and hopefully that'll all work out well in the end. The Upper Rum River, we were meeting with them too since we've met. That was a budget meeting. They're pretty set on what's going on. A few other things, but that's about what's been going on, at council lately. I asked for visions. I got a few. I want to say what you sent me was excellent. I wish you would print that out and give it to everybody here, because that was the most in-depth thing that I've seen anybody on any committee, and I've looked at a lot of paperwork in the last 6 months involving the city. That was the most in-depth thing that I've seen on parks yet.
I appreciate it.
And that is exactly the kind of direction that I think we need to think about. The plans, the goals, the focus, it was spot on for this city, and I thank you for that. I will give you an update. We were in the Work Council, they came up with the gambling proceeds going to the city, which was ironic because that week we met with some of the bar owners to talk about what they do with pull tabs. A lot of them donate pull tabs to various organizations. Even ones in East Bethel are donating it, out of our city. They have to donate a certain percentage. It would be great if we could work on them to donate it to our city, to our trails. Connecting the trails from Cambridge down, hooking up with Route 65, hooking up with, Hidden Haven, hooking up with our local bars that are paying this fee to the city. There's a lot of things which next week I'd like to give you a call and set up a meeting so we can discuss a few more things of that nature. It jumped the gun a little bit, but there's a lot of money there. A lot of money that could be coming in for this city, and it doesn't cost our taxpayers anything. It would be, a certain percentage of what these proceeds are. To get something like that so we could have $14,000 to $30,000 coming in a month for our trails would be phenomenal. And that way would allow us to connect to a lot of places that we weren't able to connect to before and get aggressive with it and help some of our parks where we need more stuff. Yes?
Are you talking about an additional,
Yeah, that's what I was
more
wondering.
than what we're already paying?
No, what we're paying or what, who's paying
So
here?
I mean, the
So-
bars
so
are
we-
paying a percentage right now.
A bar
Right.
pays 10%, okay? They have to donate a certain percentage more.
Okay, so the
So is it-
community center is what we have right
Right,
now,
right.
okay? And they donate the 10%
Mhm.
monthly,
Mhm.
and then you're saying on top of that, just
Making donations.
because we're 501c3 and we do donations,
Mhm.
that's what you want to tap into, right? No?
No. I know what you're saying. What this would be is, this is something separate from that. They have to take, that's one of the fees that they pay out, but they also have to donate a certain 40%, I believe it is, of what they get as profits,
Right, yeah,
okay?
yeah,
That's earmarked for a lot of different things.
right.
I'd like to figure out a way to set it up to earmark it for a special account here at the city that's dedicated for parks and trails.
And we're always looking for people that are
Mhm.
basically asking for,
Mhm. Mhm.
money.
And this would be coming in for the city, for them, so these people who are using our trails would be directed to them during the winter. During the summer, it'd be great bike trails or four-wheeler trails, whatever it might be. This is in the infantile stage yet, but talking it over with some of the bar owners, they were very, very interested in investing in something that brings people to their door than something else. So as we go forward, that could be key in what we decide to do with the parks and trails and so forth. If our local businesses were basically donating portions of that proceeds to that fund, it would free up a lot of things for us to do.
So again, you're talking more about the business itself donating, not the gambling,
It would be the gambling, it's the proceeds from gambling.
the proceeds from gambling.
Mhm.
So is that for,
Good.
so we have a bar op, Smokies is a bar op,
Mhm.
and they have, I forget what the percentage is that we pay for them each month. So are they expected, I don't know that they are, to take that money that we donate, well, we pay, it's pay for rent, and donate that somehow?
I think he's talking about.
I think
the-
they're looking
I think
for
it's
lawful.
LPE, yeah,
The-
lawful.
The lawful
purpose.
purpose.
Yeah.
Okay, so it would be the community center, not the bar,
Right, so.
It
Okay.
would be
you
the
also
bar,
if they're the nonprofit, right?
it would be, the way my understanding is, it's not the portion we pay to the city, which has gone down.
Right,
It would be a percentage of our allowable, our profit after our expenses.
Right, it'd
Our
be the-
actual,
Lawful purpose.
And that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking, but I was trying to figure out how the bars
Yeah,
tied into that, because typically the gambling is done by an association, like a
it's,
hockey association, or we have the Coon Lake, community center.
Right, correct.
Yeah,
And that's
it's
why I said, that's
typically
why I
not-
said it's infantile stage yet.
Okay,
But it's an avenue that hasn't been explored.
okay,
One that we can look at, because it would be for a cause that is community orientated and for all the people involved. Whether that happens or not, that's why we're gonna sit down and hash it out, because this is where we're gonna make stuff happen. If we have an idea, we may not have all the answers, but together, you have something, you have something, you have something, you have something, that we can piece this stuff together. Is it doable? I hope so. If it's not, we're gonna move on and try and figure out another way to funnel money into that doesn't affect the residents and so forth.
right.
Personally, I think what we're doing is a great start. To be able to have conversations about this city's future goals and to be able to try and hash things out and where it's gonna come from and how it would work out, that's exactly what we want out of committees, exactly what we want. That's why you're here. I didn't think of that part of it. Now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna research that part of it, do my due diligence on that, and see how it fits in with this plan. Just like anything we come up with for the skateboard park, or even putting a trail in by that lady's house through the cul-de-sac, we've gotta take into an account a lot of different things. She's upset, a lot of neighbors are wanted. Okay, it's a balancing act that we're trying to do for the residents. But right here is where we're gonna hash it out, and I thank you for that input. Other than that, that's where we're sitting right now up at council and here. I thank you once again for that, and I will be calling you to talk, more about that stuff. Any other questions?
I just have one more suggestion relating to the pull tab situation. You probably wanna, when you do meet with the bar owners, find out who the charitable organization is that has the pull tabs, because the bar is not actually making the money on those.
No,
Right.
And then have those same meetings with those
the charitable
charitable organizations.
organizations. That
They're-
would be
they're the
pivotal.
ones-
Absolutely.
They're the
Yeah.
ones that are in control of that money.
Right, and
Correct.
they would be the ones that would be paying for
Right.
that.
And we know, Bonnie and Mary and I are all pretty involved in that whole process.
I'm
for
the
our
assistant
group,
gambling
so.
manager for Smokies,
Right,
or for the
that's-
Coon Lake Community and Senior Center. And Bonnie was the gambling manager at one point, so,
That's
when it-
why I brought it up here. I didn't want to bring it up at the other meeting, because they jumped the gun on me. But, I know some of your backgrounds and where they fall in, and that's why if this could work or we could pull something off, this is where we'd hash it out and figure out how to do it, so.
Well, we're always looking for
Yeah, I think
organizations
it's-
to donate to, and, if you had a niche, the park or specifically the trails, that would be something that, we could look at from a community
And it would be strictly
standpoint.
for that,
Right.
And they could put their, this part of the trail is sponsored by so-and-so.
Right.
And get the signs in that we need all of them, and the care and the maintenance for them, something that's gonna be here not today or tomorrow, but a long time.
Mhm.
We've talked with a few wood chip manufacturers, and we can get a lot of stuff from them pretty cheap, if not free, for these trails, because they think it's a great thing to do, and they would, donate, and of course they get a tax write-off for it, but we would get, fresh materials for natural trails.
Mhm.
And wouldn't that be something to come down from Cambridge and have nice trails all the way to all the bars here in the city? I know it's not gonna happen overnight, but a goal's a goal, But I thank you, and thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Tim. Nate, you got anything?
At the next council meeting, we'll have the park dedication fees. They had to do a public hearing at that one too, so they tabled it from the last meeting because there's a change in the resolution and ordinance, so just a procedural thing. So it'll be in the next city council meeting. And then we also have the town hall meeting. The spring town hall meeting will be on Wednesday, April 26th from 6 to 9 p.m. if anybody's interested in attending that. I think it's gonna be the same format as before, open house in there, followed by a question and answer session in here, and then a follow-up question over there, so. And we are doing an Arbor Day tree planting on Friday the 28th. That'll be out in Booster Park. Our ball fields are, this morning, that fourplex was completely covered with snow, and I went out there before the meeting, and it's almost completely melted off.
Oh,
So
really?
one day, it really burned it off, so. They're hoping to get on them next week. I may be a little bit optimistic, but we're supposed to have 80s for the next 2 days. The rentals start next week. Might be the middle of next week. It might be maybe the week after, but the kids are out practicing in the parking lot, playing catch out there before the meeting, so they're itching to get going too. What else? The Ice Arena has a flooring. They're looking at doing the flooring in there from the locker rooms and the bathrooms, and then up to the concession stand. There's some old rubber skate mat. It's stuff you can walk on with your ice skates. It's part of the capital improvement plan for that building. We got some quotes for that. That was tabled. We're gonna look at that at the next meeting. Anything else in parks that you guys think of? I think that's all I got.
This nice weather makes me think about bus tour and meeting in the park again this summer, so if anybody has
Yeah.
any ideas on that, pick a park or something in July or do the bus tour again.
Let me know. Need about a month notice to get the bus rental set up if you wanna do that. Otherwise we can do a meeting in the park.
That would be fun. Meeting in the park. I like
We've done a
that.
few of them out, and usually if it's like a park, if we have a project coming up in, so I guess we could use Coon Lake Beach maybe. That's gonna be a pretty good
Maybe we
investment.
could have like a cold potluck. Meat for
And we
dinner.
would have, that we could probably, if we have a date, if there was rain, well, we got the pavilion, but we could also probably have our community center.
If it was raining, yeah. So think about that. I'll probably need to know that, what we decide on that. Well, if we're not gonna do the bus tour, we can do the meeting in the park anytime, August, September, sometimes it's nicer in the fall. But
Not so hot.
Yeah, and if, you know, we're talking about doing projects in that park, so maybe that makes sense.
usually good to get some community
Yeah.
involvement right before we
Sure.
get
That'd be
going in
cool.
there.
I like that.
Okay, I'll
Okay.
kind of pencil that idea in for August or September.
Anybody else have anything? If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion's been made
Seconded.
and seconded to adjourn. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
All right.
Thank you.